Okay, let's look at this. All right. Okay, and this is the inside of the door. But like I said, you do the inside or the back side of the door. There's your hinge holes, right, for the screws. All right, so this is looking really good. All right, but we got a problem. And how to fix a run, staining run that is dried. All right, you see here, I scraped it off at a slight angle moving forward. All right, and I will show you, I'll continue to work on this. Now, using the chisel is only the first step in the process. And the purpose for the chisel, and you want a sharp chisel, and you want to be careful, is if you use sandpaper, it's going to scratch the area around the stain around the area. You don't want to scratch up or scuff up that area. All right? And you want to be able to blend in the stain you're going to put on top once you get this all straightened out. So I'll show you the method I'm going to use, and it'll be surprising, I'm sure. I was just going to fix this and not even show it, but fixing this stain pooling on a finished product that you go, now what do I do? I'm going to show you how to do it. Remember, I'm using an oil-based stain and an oil-based polyurethane. All right, I don't know how water would work. Water's a different animal, and so I'm not familiar with water. Haven't really used water finishes. And it's not as durable either. Durable. It's not as durable. So anyways, so we're going to fix this and you'll see how this is going to work. So bear with me as I get set up here. Okay. So I will get this put in. Let's get this down here where it belongs. All right. All right. Now, okay, we are getting situated here and getting this dialed in. All right, we want our focus right there, so let's, okay, up close and personal. All right, now, what I'm going to be doing here is all right, now I'm going to use the chisel to lightly take off the excess. And again, remember, I'm looking down across it at an angle so I can see what your eye normally isn't going to pick up. All right, and I'm going to slice it at a slight angle. All right, now where I am, it's warm. All right, because you don't want to gouge the wood at all. All right. I'm only taking off what's in this damaged area. All right. And I got a little line going right there as the edge. Okay. You can see coming up, I'm putting very light pressure. All right. Just kind of slicing it off the surface. That's all I'm doing. Kind of like a shaving motion for you guys. I'm kind of coming forward, but I'm not going forward at a slight angle, and I'm exaggerating this, all right, so that you can see I'm coming forward and sliding at an angle. All right. Now, looks like I've got most of that build up, that little edge here. And I'm catching now. All right. It's just like almost like shaving with a straight razor. I'm on the sharp chisel to do this, of course. Dull chisel won't cut this way. I guess I should do a video on how to sharpen a chisel. You go in a figure 8 on sandpaper. Okay. All right. Now, next what I'm gonna do here is, you can see I'm slight going at an angle as I'm coming forward, pushing down and coming across, down and across. Now, next thing I'm going to do, all right, you don't want to dig into your wood. You don't want to gouge your wood. Okay? And that's one of the reasons for light pressure and coming across at an angle, so we don't gouge. Otherwise, you will gouge this in a minute. And this is oak. Pine or some of this other wood is a whole lot softer and it's easier to gouge. And in that situation, okay, you'd want to pull it back. You'd want to take it and pull it back this way. Pull the chisel backwards. All right. You want to go with the grain. You don't want to disturb the grain. The grain is going in this direction here. All right. Now, the wood grain on this other side over here, all right, which is better in the view, over here is going crossways, all right, so you don't have to change the directions. This is what I mean by pulling the chisel back and scraping. You won't gouge it by coming back and going with the grain. If you go against the grain, you will start disturbing the grain, and you'll have to do quite a bit of sanding. So remember, pull back and with the grain. Now this grain is going across right here at this joint. All right. See, right here is a joint. I'm going to pull it with the grain. This is the other way to go about it. And it doesn't get any safer than pulling it backward. All right. Let's get that outer edge. Okay, there's the surface. Now, I am going to hit that with a 320 because we want to scuff it up a bit, but we want it smooth, okay? And this is one of those 320s from my last video that I smoothed out the rough edges of the sandpaper on top, all right? So I cut it down, so it's now more like a 400, 600 grit at this point. You can hear it cutting. We also want to feather this edge back. Okay, when we sand, we want to feather this edge back a little bit so it blends when I put it in. Okay? How we're going to accomplish that is I'm going to put very light pressure right there at that edge. All right? And we're going to work this edge ever so slightly. All right, so we're going to sand down the edge of the stain there so that it tapers. You want a tapered edge. And any painter knows that. This is a painter's trick. All right. Now I want to come with the grain, but I want to get that edge. I want to taper that edge down, okay? So I'm going to have to finish off and go with the grain. Okay. Now I've got firm pressure here on the stain, not on the paint, not on the wood, but on the stain, on that edge right there with my finger as I'm going over this. Okay, you can see here on the pad, I'm just barely taking it off, and that's all you want to do. Like I say, you want to taper the edge. Okay. You can see it turning gray in that area. So that's good. Now, get the clean area of the sandpaper. All right, now let's do this edge. We're going with the grain here. I'm working that edge back, tapering that edge back. All right. Now, any painter that's been around painting for any length of time, he's learned this. You want to feather back, taper that edge back. And that's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to. So you can see this here. Phone's getting hot. It may die at some point, but so far so good. All right, you can see where I'm tapering it back and taking it off by little, and that's all you want to do. Moving to a clean spot. All right, keep working around, getting a clean spot, and taper it back. This even applies to a concrete joint when you're pouring concrete. Same principle applies. If you don't have enough concrete, you got to stop the pour and go get more concrete. You taper that edge back. Actually, pull it down and taper it down on concrete. All right, that's extra. But that information makes a difference. If you don't have enough concrete, you got to stop the pour, taper, make like a ramp on the concrete, so it tapers down, so that when you pour it, you got a good joint. It ties it all together that way. All right, now let's apply the stain. I'm using this oil. The nice thing about using oil is I can apply the oil, let it set for a minute, and then shoot right over that wet stain with the polyurethane. Can you do that with water base? I'm not so sure. All right, now I am going to barely dip the tip of my brush and the stain. All right, because all I want to use is just the tips. You don't want much stain on here. All right. We want to and not fill it in. All right. Okay. Now we want to just blend it in here. Okay. It'll be filled in as the end result. Okay. Okay. Again, we just want to blend it And I'm just barely putting the tips of this brush into the stain, just barely, barely. So it's just on the tips of that brush. Because this stain will spread, okay? So you don't need a lot. You want to be able to spread it and control it, or else it'll control you. Okay? Don't get in a hurry. Take the time to do it right. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, all right, I've covered that area. Just about have it complete. Now, we want to blend it in with the rest of it. You see this lighter area now above that where I've tapered that edge back? All right, now we want to blend, okay? And I'm using just the corners of the bristle of this brush. And it's damp, and that's all you want is a damp surface on your brush, on the tips. Okay, now you just kind of dab it in here. Okay. Now, if you left it like that, it would show. I could spray this with poly, and it would do its thing, but you would see the patch. You don't want to see a patch. You want it to disappear. You want it to blend right in. You want it to be camouflaged in there. All right? So we're going to camouflage this bad boy right in here. Okay. Now I probably need just a little bit more just on the tips. All right. I'm going to even rake some of that off just on the tips, as you see. Now, I'm looking across my material. All right, and I can see the little edge that I've tapered, and that's what we want to disappear, is that edge. And then we want to blend it and camouflage it in there. All right, so I'm going to bring it up here above, just little by little. And I don't want to bunch up here. I want just enough to spread and to move around so that it all blends into itself. All right. And you're going to see this happen. You should probably see that happen now, because I know longer, I still see that edge a bit. Okay, which means I have to put a tad more on. But take your time, do not get in a hurry. And I'm looking across my surface of this here, where I'm sitting back here behind the camera. I'm looking across it so I can see the entire surface of what I'm doing. Okay? So that it all blends, all fades out. You want it to fade, you want it to blend, camouflage. All right, that's melding together. And I got to blend it just a little bit more, over all the way to the corner. All right, because that's where your eye goes. You want to blend it. Okay. And I'm using very slight, ever so slight pressure. I mean, just barely any pressure at all, barely letting those tips run across that stain right now. Okay? As we're just blending this in. Okay. this is on the inside. I see one little spot just for the viewing audience. All right, as I'm looking across it now, I'm looking at it this way at an angle where I can see the area. And I'm going to put a little bit there. I see an edge. Right here, there's an edge I'm seeing at this point. All right, and now I'm going to rake off the excess. All right. Now I'm just going to move slightly. I'm just going to use the corners of this brush, remember. You could probably use a little paint brush to do this as well. All right. Okay, I'm touching down and I'm landing on my feet running here. All right, and I'm light pressure, landing on my feet running. I'm in motion as I touch down. I'm pulling back. This is all one smooth move. All right. So from this joint, just all right, right at the joint. Just landing down and pulling, light pressure, but no pressure, just the pressure of the bristles, partial. All right. Now, catch this in here. Landing on my feet, running, I'm calling it. Going with the grain. All right. Now let's put on some poly. Right. Ken, that's too soon. What are you doing, man? You can't, wait a second now. No, relax. It's okay. Really. It's all right. But Ken, no. You're going to mess it up, man. What? But Ken, don't do that, man. You're gonna mess it up. It's gonna bubble or something. It's gonna come loose. What? You can't do that. What do you think you're doing, Ken? Hey, oh, wait a minute. Now get to the whole thing. All right, you know what I did wrong? What did I do wrong, folks? I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? I'm going to tell you what I did wrong. I didn't wipe that area down with poly, not with poly. I didn't wipe that area down with lacquer thinner and cleaning that wood. I still had the dust on there, and it just separated. It just separated because I didn't wipe it down with poly, not with poly, but with lacquer thinner. So now guess what? I'm going to get out the lacquer thinner. I'm going to get to wipe that down now. I got ahead of myself sitting here doing this video. All right, I've got lacquer thinner on my rag. And we're going to wipe this down now. Right here, right here. All right. I'm going to wipe it down. How do you fix this? You redo it. And this rag is wet with polyurethane. All right. That way it don't stick and it pulls it off. There it is. And it'll also clean. All right. Now, and I've wiped this down. All right. Okay. We're going to feather that edge down a little more with the poly on this rag since we're here. We can do that. why not do that in the first place, Ken? Well, did you have more control over what's going on using the chisel? That's why I'm doing it. Now, you could probably get away with doing this without the chisel, but the chisel gives you more control, and that's why. Just in case you're wondering. So I got ahead of myself and messed up. That was looking really good too. Don't get mad, get glad, right? Good thing this happened, because now you know how to fix another problem that we would not have covered. Okay. Now acetone, this is acetone, not acetone. This is lacquer thinner. Acetone would remove the lacquer off of here like right now. Lacquer thinner has acetone in it, but acetone, straight acetone, would be wiping all of this stain off. I couldn't do this with acetone because it would remove it. And acetone is very harsh on your lungs. And so I would say use a breather, a ventilator or something. Make sure you're holding your breath if you're up close and personal to it. Not good for you. All right. Now, let's start over. All right. Brought to you by EZ2 Tips and Tricks, etc. ECT. EZ2 Tips and Tricks, ECT. All right. Now, it's all cleaned up. I'm going to go back over this. Okay. I used a little bit more on here, but see, now I'm at risk of it running over this edge. All right, that's why I didn't do that before. Dry brushing is your friend in a situation like this. Otherwise, you got to be ultra careful. And I almost have too much on it now. All right, now we need to spread that around. And be careful about it. Okay, I'll put a little stain up here. Get this going up here, like so. The way it blends it all in. Okay, and I'm going with the grain. All right. We're going to go here at the joint line. I can see because I'm looking again across it at an angle. And I can see what's going on here. I'm lightly moving the excess stain here. Bringing it away from that edge. All right. Now, just kind of bring it out, smooth it out. Come here. I'm landing on my feet running. I'm just coming down with a slight pressure and just bringing it out the stain. Little by little, dragging it out. Okay, there we are. Bringing it out to the edge. Okay, I'm catching both edges here on both sides of this. Bringing it out. Bringing it out. All the way across. All the way back up. Okay. There it is. Bringing this on out, blending it in. And it's now gone. That is gone. It's probably like 90% gone. All right. So we're going to make it 100%. And I'm just going to dip the tips now again. Watching the bristles. Knowing I've got just a smidge just on the tips of this brush. Catch it right here at that edge that I'm seeing. Right here, I can see the edge as I look across my surface. All right, going to put a little more. Okay. All right, so I'm looking across. If I was looking straight on, I could not see this edge I'm pointing, that I'm seeing, that I'm now pointing out. All right, that's the edge. Where this brush is the edge. Okay. So I'm kind of moving this around, filling that in. Now, okay, you got to blend it now ever so carefully, ever so soft. Just kind of move it back with the grain so it blends in with the grain. All right, that's nice and smooth there. All right, now I'm going to catch it right here at this joint, come across. Very light pressure, very, very light. All the way to the outer edge. It's important. You want to make sure you get to the edges and then elongate it. Spread it across. All right, let's spread this across here. I'm out of the area. All right. So I can catch it this way and spread this out. Now, let's blend her in. Now we're going to blend it in. Go to the joint where the wood comes together. And that's looking really nice. You want to feather it out, taper it all out so it all blends and flows and kind of like a ramp, you know, it just fades out to nothing. All right, now we are going to let that sit for a minute or so, and then we're going to spray it. You're going to see that the dust left on that material on the wood is what caused it to separate when I sprayed the poly on it. All right, and this is a clear gloss going on this gloss black. Okay, you'll never know that was there ever. I'll be showing this door when I am finished with the tiling, and I may show it after I stain the cupboard. We'll see. All right, now I'm ready to spray that door, and it'll be good as good. It'll be gooder than new. Gooder, I said. Gooder than new. Yes, this can's getting a little dry. Okay, here we go. All the way across, all the way across, all the way down. Next style on the door. All the way across from style to rail to style. Here we are going across the style now. I should say the rail now to the style over here on the edge. All the way up that. all the way down the style on the hinge side. You want it all to look the same. Okay, as you see, there's no separation. Okay, now I probably should have let that dry a little bit more. Probably just a little bit more, let it sit up a little bit longer. But when this dries, I'll be able to sand it and then lightly sand it, smooth it out, touch it up if necessary, and then do the same thing. All right, lightly sand it, wipe it down. If I need to apply any stain, I can touch it up with a little stain and it'll be perfect. Because it's a little bit rough there where it's drying. But that's really good. All right, well,